As homeowners here in the upper Midwest, we depend heavily on our HVAC systems to comfortably heat and cool our homes. And most systems, if properly installed, last about 15 to 20 years on average. So on today's show, we'll explain the benefits to being a proactive consumer who replaces the system before it starts to fail. So let's get started with our HVAC specialist, Larry Hacker. Oh, Larry, what a beautiful setting, a beautiful home. Now, what's the situation with these homeowners?
Well, the situation is they've been in a home for 15 years. They built it back in 2001. There was a ton of building going on. And they did their research before they built. So they actually went with a very high-end system at the time. They zoned it to meet the needs of this 2,300 square foot home. And it gave them the ability to divide the areas up in controllable, comfortable zones based on how they use it. And that's benefited them well throughout that 15 years, and they want to have that benefit them moving forward as their family comes home for the holidays and things like that.
Sure. In previous shows, we talked about how important it is to understand the system and design it around their needs, and it seems like they did a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, they did a really good job for what was there at the time.
Now, as I look at it, it's in remarkably good and clean condition, yet you're saying they need to replace it even though it's operating?
Well, it's one of those. It's not a need yet. However, they've made the decision themselves. They're empty nesters now. They've decided they're going to stay in this home, and it is 15 years old. So your average life is between 15 and 20. They don't want an unforeseen situation when they're gone. So they want to take care of it today. New technology, new warranty, the convenience today of being able to look at their home while they're remote from their cell phone. That's another reason to upgrade. So they're doing some pretty good stuff here.
Yeah, it's going to be a remarkably efficient system once it's installed. It's going to be awesome to see a little later in the show. But getting back to the reasons for replacing it, I mean, if I'm a viewer today and I'm looking at this situation, looks relatively new to me. I wouldn't know it was 15 years old if you hadn't told me. I'm thinking of my furnace, and maybe it's 10 or 15 years old, 20 years old, but it's still running. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're telling me that I should start considering to replace it and not waiting for it to break down?
Exactly. A lot of things that people think about with your autos, you know it's getting a lot of miles on it. If we would have a mileage meter or an hour meter on here, you'd realize in 15 years how many hours this particular product has run. And it is starting to near the end of its life. Now, in this case, they're going to make the move before there's a problem. If this goes down in the middle of winter, now it's a crisis. In this case, they're doing their research, and they're going to make an educated decision on what the new options are today versus what was available 15 years ago when they put this in. They can plan for it, and the dealer can schedule around their time when it's most convenient.
Sure, and let's face it, it always seems to happen on a Friday night or on a Sunday, on a holiday weekend. That's when they tend to fail. And when they tend to fail, it's not like the old days that it might have been $200 or $300 to come out and replace a part.
Oh, not anymore. Not anymore. Unfortunately, the price of everything has gone up. So you're looking at minimal costs of $250 to $500 for a small item to be necessarily repaired. The thing is once you have those first costs, what's going to be next?
A lot of peace of mind with replacing it now, being a proactive consumer. Exactly. Okay, so you've convinced me I should start looking at it. Let's say I want to replace it. Is it as simple as just going out and buying a unit? Because when I've looked at new furnaces, out of the box, they all look pretty similar.
Yeah, from the outside, it looks like a furnace. It's the inside and the components that are there today that make a big difference. Higher efficiency electrical blowers, a lot of other components inside. They're looking at a modulating furnace today versus what was a two-stage back when this was put in, which was top of the line then. Now they're looking at going to even a more efficient and a better product that better suits their whole needs here.
Sure. Well, I think about all the homes from the 1990s, the early 2000s, that their original heating equipment and cooling equipment is reaching that 15 to 20 year life expectancy. So if you're a proactive consumer, seems to me you get added peace of mind. Chances are you're going to save money by not having to make a rash decision when the unit breaks down. And you're going to end up with ultimately more comfort if you go with the right contractor who knows how to analyze your situation and help you get the right unit for your needs.
Exactly, and that was the beauty here is they were able to assess the contractor, find out who has the best reputation, best service in the area, what do they do for staying educated. Now, I represent the distributor, so what we do is we go out and actually train our dealers to be educated on the equipment, the proper install techniques, the proper startup and service, so that they understand the products inside and out. to make sure they're operating at peak performance.
So to me, it seems like that's very important. Some questions to be asking contractors when you're considering different ones for your situation. How trained are you? Who's doing your training? How long have you been here? Because to me, they're the ones who are going to install it and stand behind the product, right?
Absolutely. They're the ones that are going to be on the firing lines when you're in here, and they need to make sure that it's operating correctly. You're buying a very technical piece of equipment that has to operate in the right settings. And it's very critical that they set those things up properly at the beginning and then also do maintenance to make sure that they're sustaining the proper efficiencies throughout the life of the product.
Well, as surprising as it might seem to some of our viewers, here's a perfectly functioning furnace. We're telling them that they should consider replacing it. Seems to me with all those key points that you just said, be proactive and you're going to be happier in the long run. Let's get out of the way of the professional contractor they selected. They can get started with the replacement process. You and I can head upstairs and talk about what to expect in an estimate.
Sounds good, Stu.
Well, Larry, it certainly didn't take those guys long to start tearing out the old unit. And you know what really impressed me is how professional they looked. I mean, and that speaks volumes to me when I'm looking at a contractor. Are they presented in a professional manner? And these people looked like they made the right choice.
Yeah, it works out well. The other thing you'll notice is they came fully prepared because they measured the system up ahead of time. It gave the homeowner the peace of mind they weren't going to be inconvenienced multiple times to get the job done. Sure. And that's the important part of meeting with the heating contractor right away and basically going through qualifications of what the homeowner really needs today versus the system that may be in the home probably doesn't match their existing lifestyle.
Sure, so when you use the term needs analysis downstairs, that's what you're talking about right there. The needs of the occupants and the needs of the home combined.
Right, it's two parts. We have to first figure out how do the occupants use the home. And what we did with this couple is to look at their physical needs today versus when they built. When they built, obviously it was set up around being a family of four. Mm-hmm. Now it's basically a family of two. They want to travel, they want to be gone more often. They're utilizing the master bedroom and the main living area. Sure. But the other areas of the home can theoretically be in setback most of the time, saving them money. But it is ready to be heated or cooled properly when they do have their children come home. So we're setting them up for the reassurance that the system is going to perform properly with fewer people, fewer showers. We're adding a humidifier so their wood floors don't crack. And they're starting to see that as the home aged. So it's going to be a benefit to them. And then also dust and allergies were talked about. And in turn, we're looking at now putting in a better air cleaning system for them. So it's going to capture and kill so they don't have to worry about that, especially when the grandkids show up, which is obviously their concern today.
Sure, and what I find interesting is you can overcome all these challenges with the right system. You don't have to tear open the walls and put new ductwork and everything. As long as you're working with a competent professional contractor and you're with them during the needs analysis, there's no reason you can't get the best system built around your needs.
Right. The other thing that we do is we do load calculations, and that's the other aspect of the needs analysis. Unfortunately, what a lot of heating contractors do, they'll come in and match exactly what they had in there before. However, as we own the homes, we'd make changes to them. Have they updated the windows? Have they re-insulated? Have they done other things to the home? We don't know those things. To be able to ask those questions, remeasure, and the other thing we found many, many times, the system that's currently installed is oversized. So by doing a good load calculation, we can get the accurately designed system for the house put in versus them spending unneeded money for a system too large, and it really isn't going to serve their needs properly.
So at the end of the day, it seems to me, your advice to a homeowner replacing their system, when you're selecting a contractor, make sure you're home, take that opportunity to meet with them. Sure, it might be an hour or two out of your time, but you're talking about a system that's going to last 15 to 20 years, and you want the right system designed for your needs.
Yeah, 2 hours of time spent with a contractor, make sure it's right, is going to go for a long haul when you're here 15 years. If you didn't take that time, a year or two or three down the road, you're really going to be hurting yourself if you didn't do the proper system right up front.